Hi, Simon here. It's the 27th of August. Tomorrow is Friday, and then on Saturday, the UK Drone Nationals are on, and I'm going to be competing against, I think, 27 other pilots who are all probably all way better pilots than me. But I couldn't work out what to fly, and I was going to fly my little Thug 180, but just I haven't it just doesn't have the poise and control of a 250, and I went out flying in an airfield down in Surrey a couple of weeks back, and took my old 250, my old Blackout out, which I haven't flown in ages because I've been playing with the 3D quad, the Nerd quad, and I broke the Nerd quad, and I had already ordered a whole bunch of new parts to basically rebuild the Nerd quad. I was going to do it with a complete custom frame that I've designed and laser cut, and I was going to get this milled. And I was basically going to build the ultimate quad for me, which is going to be 3D video at the front, and 2204 motors and 4S and the SPR F3 and everything, like all of the good bits that have just come out in the last sort of 12 months. But I haven't had time to build that, and also that's not really designed for racing. Anyway, I took out my 250, my Blackout, and flew it for the first time in ages, and just realised how much more fun, for me at least, the Blackout is, or the 250 is compared to the 180. And I was going to race the 180, but I decided then that I would race a 250 instead. So what I did is I took all of the really good new modern components that I'd bought to put on the rebuild of the Nerd quad, and basically rebuilt my Blackout from scratch. So I retired the Open Pilot Revolution, and I retired the old PWM ESCs, and I retired the X6R receiver, and I took off the 600 milliwatt VTX, which is a bit burned out. It was down to about 300 milliwatts because I've left it without an antenna. And I built myself the quad that I want to race with in the Nationals. So I want to show it to you now and explain what's a little bit different about it. I might just take the battery off. Actually, I'll leave the battery on. Okay, so starting from the front. The only thing that's left from the quad, the old Blackout 250, is using the same board cam and using the same frame. The Blackout frames are completely indestructible. I've never been able to break anything on this frame, and I've deliberately flown it into walls for TV shows and stuff, so it's really tough. I've got a 3D printed angle bracket for racing. I don't know why people design frames without angle brackets anymore. The way to do it now is just either 3D print yourself one of these, or have a frame that already has a 15-20 degree angle. Inside, okay, brand new 2204 Cobra motors. I'm going to race on 3-cell. This thing can run 4-cell, but I haven't tuned it, and staying close to the ground, I think 3-cell is good enough. So 2204 motors, which will give me a little bit more torque. They've got the same 2300 kV, so should be just as quick as the 1806s, but with a little bit more torque, which is good because I'm going to be spinning these 5045 Dal Unbreakable bullnose, which I'm really happy with. They seem super stiff, they're super balanced. If they're as unbreakable as the normal 5045 Dals, I'll be really happy. So there's that. Inside, I did a nice, neat wiring loom for the first time. I've never really bothered using this stuff before, but I'm really happy with that as well. I'm running the SPR F3, which is Dominic Clifton and Cleanflight's new controller. It's just been an absolute dream to work with. I don't know what it is. Everything about this quad feels so sharp in the air and so precise. Compared to flying the old Open Pilot Revolution with PWM ESCs, the quad would kind of roll around the sky a little bit, and this thing's dip, really precise, and I think that's probably got as much to do with new motors and active braking and everything else. Anyway, the SPR F3 has been really easy to work with. I'm powering it. Okay, so the ESCs are the DYS 12 amp. I probably should have put 16s on, but they didn't actually arrive until this morning, and I built this last night. So I'm running 12 amp ESCs. If fire comes out, what you gonna do? I'll just replace them. I've heat shrunk them onto the arms, to give it that really low profile, low wind resistance kind of look. Obviously, I remembered to put contact, a little bit of electrical tape below the ESC, so the carbon doesn't short out the bottom of the ESC. because they're all opto ESCs, there's no BECs on these ESCs. Don't actually have a BEC on here at all. I'm actually running a Polo step-down 5-volt regulator, which is sort of sandwiched. Let me see if I can show you. It's inside a piece of heat shrink tube right there in the front, running from a couple of contacts, like directly into a couple of the pins on the SPR. No header pins on the SPR. I don't do header pins anymore. Just solder. Put the wires straight through the holes. Put a bit of solder. Saves a ton of space. Keeps it looking nice and tidy. What else can I tell you? I'm running the X4R SB Euro version instead of a D4R. So that's FRSKY's new S-Bus. It's the same size and shape as a D4R. In fact, I've got a spare one here. Looks like that. So it looks just like a D4R, except it is talking S-Port. So you not S-Port and S-Bus. So S-Bus is the equivalent of CPPM. So no PWM for a long time. No CPPM, which is good, but a little bit laggy, but at least you're only using three wires. And S-Port is the same, just one connection, 3 wires, but it's a little bit faster and better. And it also uses S-Bus. Wait, get this right. S-Bus is for sending the information from the receiver to the flight computer. And S-Port is the information that goes back to the controller. So cleanflight can output FRSKY or FRSKY S-Port telemetry, which is a serial protocol, which goes back over one tiny little wire. So there's a single little wire here, single little pin, single little wire. That basically takes the telemetry out of cleanflight and puts it back into the receiver and sends it back to your Tyrannus. So that plus 2 header pins soldered onto the two wires soldered onto the SPR directly from the battery voltage gives me VFAS, which is basically the battery voltage. So I get low battery warning, so I can see how much power or how much battery I've got left. So that's really, really tidy. And there's just so much space in this quad now that you don't have any of the bits that you used to have to pack in there. Had a bit of problem with the X4R. My Tyrannus is before the European regulations forced FRSKY to change the protocol a little bit, so it's not the EU version. These obviously came, they're the EU version. So I had to go through the process of loading the ER9X firmware on here, which has got maintenance mode that you can use the pins in the back of your Tyrannus to then flash non-Euro mode onto this. I didn't actually do that in the end. I updated the XJT module I've got in the back to the European protocol, so now it works. So the other thing that's different is I took off the 600 milliwatt immersion VTX, which is, like, those VTXs are amazing. They give you fantastic range and great penetration in trees, and they're really, really good, but there's 2 problems with them. One, the pins aren't that accessible. They're not that easy to, like, mack around with dip switches when it's, like, it's a race and you don't have a lot of time to set up, and they're not that great for that. And the other problem is they take up a lot of space. And also, when you're on a race day, a lot of courses limit the amount of power that you output. They don't want you putting out 600 milliwatts because you just stomp over the whole band. So they ask you to use a lower VTX power. So what I've gone for instead is this little ET200 VTX, and you can see I've just kind of like vertically mounted it on the back. So the VTX basically comes straight up through the hole. This is an RPSMA version, so this is why I've got this dinky little antenna. It's the only RPSMA CP antenna that I could find. But the nice thing about mounting it this way is that you've got the button here, which lets you really quickly and easily change what frequency you're transmitting on. I'll just power this up and you can see. And you also get a couple of lights that tell you what channel you're on in a really obvious and easy way. So you can see I'm just pushing the button there, it's just moving through the channels. And a long press just flips you between the bands, so that makes it really easy to change when you're in a racing situation. It's like, oh no, someone's on the same band as me, push a button, you're not there anymore, it's great. So that's really good. So I'm really happy with this now. It's like super tidy build, everything I learned from building the 180s, like with the minimum shortest possible wiring and keeping everything just really, really tidy, I've applied to building this, and I'm yeah, really happy with it. Haven't had much time to practice on it. I basically took the same tuning that I had on my 180 and took it outside, and it just seems rock solid. I think that the SPR F3, I've got the loop time down to 1500 instead of 3500. It just doesn't seem to care. Like it just seems perfectly tuned without me having to have done anything other than I haven't even changed the pits at all. I don't think I might have dialed down the I a little bit, but other than that, not really changed anything at all. What else can I tell you about it? Not very much. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to be flying in the Drone Nationals. But I also got something else. Which is the new Fat Shark goggle. I guess it replaces the rubberized eye cups with a sort of flat plate that clips onto the front of your Dominators or Dominator HDs. It's so comfy. It's so much better than the eye cups. The eye cups are great, but they move the Fat Shark too far away from your face, which means that the sweet spot that you can focus through the lens is too small, so you get blur around the edges. I've been running for a while with a 3D printed prototype that I got off Thingiverse, and it's been really, really good. So when they came out with an official one, I bought two. I'm really, really, really happy with that. If you've got Dominators or Dominator HDs, get yourself a set of this. It comes with a fan on top as well, so when we come into winter, we'll be able to fly without getting too much fog. Yeah, so that's basically it. Really looking forward to Drone Nationals. Yeah, that's it.